Nice, right? Oh, what the hell is this piece of crap you got on your table? It's not mine. It's Mikey's. Mikey. You can't get confused because there's more mics now than there was before. So he put a motor on it. Well, a motor we had that I threw out, and I don't know. And then a clutch that I had that he didn't realize because he doesn't talk. He doesn't talk to me. He just does. I was going to give it back to him, but eventually I'm like, look at this piece of little crap motor sitting around. We'll get a look at it. So he's got money in that. He bought this thing. He wants to try to sell it. I gotta get rid of it. I gotta get rid of it before the winter comes and everything. All right, it's got a broken cable. All right, he needs some kind of a throttle cable. That's our job. Right, and I think he kind of damaged the cable. I think we could fix this. This is one of those steel spiral wrapped outer cables. So I think we can reuse it. It's nice and long. I like the barrel end. We'll get you in tight. It's nice and long, maybe a little too long, but it's long. So what we need to do is let me get you in so you can see this area here and we can look at the motor. I made a really interesting cable setup for that mini bike I did for him. Check that out. I put a Tecumseh engine on it. Yeah, like a real 5 horsepower engine on it. Not some puny Chinese cat Predator, little Predator engine, right? I mean, they're not bad. I mean, I think it got water in it too, because if you leave this, I left this engine out, well, I should say the cart out. He's had it out, and I left it out, and of course it rained. Now, we haven't had a rainy season because it's that time of year, but at the beginning of the year or the season, it was the rainy season. And when I went to store it on its back, because of this, kind of neat little frame here, water came out of the muffler. This is what happens to a lot of these overhead valve engines. You can't store them just out. Water get right in. So it feels like it's locked. So I think it rusted. So why don't we pull the plug, get a look at this. Let me do a walk around. We got to free this motor up. I think it got jammed. I think it's rusted or it's hydrolocked. That's step one. If we haven't destroyed the motor, then we can look at, I don't know, whatever this arrangement is here. What is this? You'll see. Let's get started. All right, so here's the barrel end that I like. Right? This is so cheesy. And this must have been a throttle arrangement too, maybe, right? Maybe, yeah, it looks like it. So this is a rod, which pulled a smaller cable. Something to think about. It's got to get over somewhere to here. It's part of our throttle. And I used, on the Tecumseh motor setup for the mini bike, I bypassed the governor so you can get like full, sorry, I'm going to jerk the camera around. I just banged my elbow on the tire. All right, what to do first? Like I said, let's get that plug out, see what's going on, look in here. Let me take a look at a couple of things. Let me get this out of our way down here. He put a new clutch on it. I had one. Like I said, he doesn't talk to me. Then there's some kind of cheesy cable here for the brake. Looks like it might work. Yeah, it's still working. All right, we don't have to look at that. Don't look at too many things. That's up to him. Let's just do our job first before we do anything else. Well, here's a winning design. So you cannot get the plug socket in with the muffler in the way. And then he's got this motor pinned up over here against this bar. So good luck even trying to take out or loosen up, because this is on studs. So it has to, oh jeez. What an effing nightmare, Mikey. What an effing nightmare. You got to get the plug out. It won't pull over. It's either seized or it's waterlogged or I don't know. See a little crunchies in there? It's not much. But in here, let me turn the little light on. I don't see anything in there. It looks like the piston's up at the top. Let's find out what else is going on, because it's been outside. But now that the plug is out, I'm going to start lubricating. And maybe I can blow that out with some compressed air. Hold on. I went to blow, and all kind of water came out. Watch. See, it's hydrolocking. Oh. All right, hold your ears. I'm gonna kill it, but I'm gonna suck it out, suck the fuel out into this container. The fuel looks like it's okay. Get it all out, and then we need to figure out how to gain access to the throttle and how much of this down here I want to keep because we can't use it. That's all. So in this position, there's that little flapper down on the throttle, and it's on the idle stop. So I haven't touched that. So that's idle. So right now, we're in idle. I tighten this up to make this stationary. We may remove it because we could put something different here. So if you want throttle, you then have to, if you want to use this, which we should because we want to have this is our governor. Even though we won't really necessarily be using the governor, we do want the governor to be working. So now we want this to move that way. You have to pull it in. It doesn't move very far. Now we got to go check the cables that are over here. So we have a cable. We also have a rod that's been locked off. And it's got something over here too for us that we can work with. So what we want to do now is get rid of this cable, just remove it, free up this rod. Let me look at the action, which direction everything is going in. Just kind of temporarily just drop the motor on there because we really need to take it off anyway to do a number of these things. And let's figure out what we can do from there. So let me get started. So this bracket here is going to be in our way if we decide to use this rod. Somebody welded that on there. And I kind of like it because it's going to give a nice feel, right, to the foot, which is, you know, lead foot. Because you're just pulling on this little guy otherwise. And it has a natural stop. And then I have some ideas of what we can use. You don't need this. So here's one of the piles of cabling hoard. That pile there, next to my ashtray, I think we're going to use that. Plus the original one, we want to keep that out. Let me put this stuff back and put it, you know, away. And then it's going to rain tomorrow most likely. I got to get this out of here because we're going to need, I'll put it in the garage, I guess. It's just I don't want it out in the rain, but we'll put it out in the garage. It'll give me more room here in case I want to bring the welders in. Let's cut this bracket off. You gotta put, I love this tool. It's adjustable, reversible. Let's get a little oil in it. Might be able to break it off. Yep. Excellent. Let's take a little more off. I'll be back. I want to clean it up. Like it never happened. That's good for now. All right, I don't need to put a cotter pin or anything in that because I want to take this apart later. So now I have an idea for over here because now this provides a nice stop. There's a slot in here and I just need a short length of cable to come up over here. I removed that bracket that was there and let's see. Not much travel. All right, let's cut it. Let me put a little bit of oil in here. You know, just a couple of drops, especially when I don't use them all the time. But you know, I do it before every use, just a couple. So there's my mark. So I'm going to pull this out all the way. I wanted to kind of keep some extra on the other end. Well, we only need about that much. Now I got this. So I made this longer, and the other thing I want to do too is I just want to put some heat shrink over that, clean this up, and then we're going to start working with it. All right, I'll get you in a little tighter as we proceed. So this is the cutoff piece, and this is another piece that I found in the basement in my stock. I got this size, I got this size. Let me show you. So here's an example. So let's take our piece here. That's our scrap. You notice the barrel end on there. So we'll use the scrap first. We pass this through. I can't get it through because it's got this coating. We may have to abort. This is a nylon covered, which is nice, but it's a bit more problematic for what we're doing. But it shouldn't be a problem. We can always drill this out too a little bit. So we're pulling this through to the barrel end is where we want it. So that barrel goes in there. So now the barrel's locked in. Now, as you can see when we pull on it, see, it's going to grab that barrel. So it grabs the barrel, and it's going to go up over there. So there's our barrel end. That's how we affix it. So when we go to set this up, after I clean it up and fix it up a little, we're going to pull this out, just so you can see it. We'll pull that out, and then this little bracket here, part of the original one, we're going to drill that out next. And we'll have, so this barrel will be down there. We'll screw that in. We'll pass this through, and I'm not exactly sure. This might be really close to the length we want. Like it might be really, really close. We may have to shorten it a bit. So we'll do our adjustments. And coming back to this, working with the scrap. All right. So this has got a slot in it. That doesn't really matter. We probably can't get to both sides of the well, but you could see here. So we need to fasten this part of the cable. And I'm not sure where this is going to be, so we're going to hose clamp it until we figure out where it's going to be. But this is what, and this, by the way, this we could, if we really have to, we can notch this and put a V-notch or a cup in there just to make it cleaner, but let's just establish it. And then we're going to come up with our length, all right? So let me work on that aspect next. We also have to figure out how to terminate the cable up here. So I got to come up with that next. I got to think about how I want to do that. I'll be back in a bit. All right, took a little bit of the bend out of it. It got a little kinked here, but it's okay. I got a couple little marks. So this will just kind of help protect it and keep it a little bit stiffer. I can see there's another piece of damage down there, but we may be cutting that off, so I'm not interested in fooling with that. So I got my marks, so I don't, I know I'm not going to screw up. Yeah, I'll do it. Let me deburr it. Just grab a little file or something and burr us on the inside. Before I go and get some more coffee, so I got this situated. Again, I'll get you in tighter in a bit, but I need you a little bit out of my way. So I drilled out that hole a little bit that's in there. I disconnected it from the rod so I could get to it easier from the pedal, the rod from the pedal. I'll put that back in a bit. And I got this set up. I got a clamp here. Those cuts in this tube is nice because it's allowing me to lay it flat on this surface. So let's see here. This goes right in. Let's see if we can get it all the way around and out. I drilled out that top bracket. I mounted it properly. The motor is loosely bolted in, very loosely bolted in with a couple of bolts, just to kind of keep it from moving around too much. I can always move it. My guess will be it will be about here, maybe a little closer. Okay, just to keep things tight, because we're going to be pulling that way. Let's connect that rod out of your view. There's our gas pedal connected. And I'm going to come up here. This is about the length we want, fellas. That is real close. So I'm at idle. It only is going to pull that far. So we only need to pull in a micro amount. Let me think about how I want to do this. We're very, very close. And this is adjustable here. And we also have some adjustment down there before we weld. So let me noodle around. Okay, so we're at idle. So this is the size of the hole. These are usually like different kinds of cables that, rods that connect in between things. Usually they connect to here, things like that. So these holes are very small. Here's where our cable is. So one of the things we could do is we could go like in the middle and then clamp these two together, adjust their length. And this is an example of a clamp that you could use. Collars that you can crush down. We can also drill this out, like the middle hole. We might be able to fit one of these in. I don't know. That's a little big. But these clamp up. And this is a little bit too big either way, even if we use that other little crush clamp. We need to get this nylon off. So I think that's one of the things I'm going to do next. But we have adjustment here. And this is adjustable, right? So I can figure out, I think I actually like where it is. It seems to be a good spot. And when I arrive on it, what we want to do next is we're going to put a set screw here and here, right? Closer to the ends. We'll have two set screws, and that will lock the cable in where we want it to be. So now I just got to think about, do I want to use this cable? I do have others. I just liked it because I like the barrel down here. It's perfect for what we're doing. It's the right size. So I'm going to experiment with removing some of that nylon sheet, the vinyl that's on there. So here's the mock-up over here. This is to hold the cable temporarily. So I already tried this, and it gets loose. If you really mash down on the pedal, right, because that's what people are going to do. They get excited. Okay. Right now it's on its stop. It really can't go any further. It's compressed the spring. So this will work if I'm going to have to recrimp it, which I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, but that will work if I recrimp it, as long as we make our adjustments and the stop is on that rod and not here. So this will work if we set this right. We need a little gap in here. We need some extra, and then we can also adjust it over there so that, like I said, we get to that stop before we put the tension on this. I really pulled hard to make this come apart. So we're very close. We don't want to have this be the stop, because that's gonna come apart. People are gonna get excited and they're gonna slam on that pedal, and that's what we do. We get excited. So having the stop being adjusted over in this area, so we need to be mindful of that. So that's next. All right, I'm going to do it a different way. I'm going to pull this pedal back. Instead of adjusting it in the idle, I'm going to pull it back to its stop, and then I'll make my adjustments over here to full throttle, and then we can make some adjustments here later on and here later on to make sure that we got that little bit of extra of the gap as we're pulling on it, because the travel is very, very small. You'll see what I mean. We're only going through one side. Yeah, that works good. And then I'll run a tab 3/16 24. We're going to put set screws in. You can use a regular screw too, but I'll do a set screw. Just going to go slow. I'm not changing the speed. I could go a little faster, but then I got to change the pulleys. All right, let me do the other one. All right, let me blow the oil and schmutz off. And we just want to check the set screws. Let me get the scrap piece sheath. Make sure that we're going to be able to run it in there. If not, we'll have to put something over the sheath. Oh no, wait. Yeah. Oops. Hands are getting greasy. Let's clean up. We'll clean up and we'll get ready to weld this in. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's biting good. And there's two, so I put two. Yeah, they ain't going nowhere, fellas. And then when I'm done, we'll come back. It's nice. It's out of the way. We'll come back. We're not going to damage the sheath. We'll test it all. And then we'll clean it all off, a little bit of gum out or whatever before we paint it and stuff. Just throw a little bit of paint after the welding. And I'll put a little blue lock type on these threads. We'll clean up these threads because you want the threads clean. So that will do last. After the adjustments and it's welded on right before we put a little primer on it. But this is what we want. We gotta just clean it off a little bit to do the weld, but I'm gonna go set up. Okay. Here's our stop bracket. Very simple. All right, I got all this set up. Okay. So now I'm going to remove it. I'm going to take. We got to take this out. At least move it out of the way. We don't want any of this running through here because it's going to get hot. And I'm thinking I'm going to set up the TIG. We have the MIG right there, but I might set up the TIG. I have a little bit of gas left. I'm not very good at TIG, but TIG is very clean. There's like no sparks, no splatter. And everything here, I polished everything up with the grinder and removed the stuff and cleaned it well. And I suck at TIG, and this is just some piece of crap. What better way than to butcher? I mean, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try. I need to get better at it. But we'll see. If we'll tack here, we'll tack here, then we'll remove this. I don't have to get underneath there if I make a good weld here. Yeah, good luck with that. We'll see. Let me try. I got a little bit of gas left. Let's use it up before I run out and pick up more gas. Let's have some fun. All right, 33 amps. This is thicker than most likely this, but we'll see. We'll give it a shot. I got my rod cleaned up. I'm going to have to stand up, but we'll see. It should be okay. Well, I don't want to go too high in the amperage because I don't know. There we go. About 44. I might want to clean my electrode. I did stick it, so let's just tack it here. Yeah, it's better. That's good. We got to go up in heat. Let me clean that. All right, increase the shutter speed. I don't know, 200 something. Lower the ISO down to 100, so you're not going to see it until I start. I increased the flow rate to 20, a little over 20, so it's just a little bit more. Even though I'm running out of gas, I need more. I definitely need more. I'm going to put my other glasses on too underneath my welding glasses, and because this helmet is it's just no good. I can't continue to use this. On proper. Try 54 amps. There's some dirt in there too. It's not pretty, but it's successful. So I actually ran out of rod. I almost got to here. I could fix that, but we don't need to. And I could clean this up. And you can see there's some good penetration in. So a little bit less current would have been good too, but there's no foot pedal. I don't have a foot pedal. It dumped this guy, so this guy got hit a little bit, and that's my mistake. The other thing I could have done, because the seat is here, which I have you in tight so you don't see it, but I could have used this, right? And I need to modify one of the electrodes, and I could have used this. And that would have been very useful because this is hitting, hear it? So that's a bit of a pain in the neck there. So that would have helped. A little bit more, is some oxidation, so a better nozzle here. This is the biggest one I have. It's what came with it. That would have helped. And a little bit more pressure. I'm a little over 20, maybe a little bit more. Doors open over there to my left. That would have helped. And then the technique. So I went the opposite way. You're supposed to come over the weld, previous weld, and travel. So I should have gone this way, but I decided to come this way, away from it, and a little bit of a loop. And you can see that the current was very close because it's digging in here, because this is thinner material, then this is much thicker. So we got good penetration everywhere. This isn't going to go anywhere. Remember, it's holding a cable. So I think we're okay. This is not going to come off. It's still a little hot. But I think we're done with the weld. Let me clean up and put that away. I could fill this in if I wanted to, and I could treat that area a little bit. Maybe for a little extra practice, I'm going to do that now. And we can kind of work that in. We got to let it get hot for a while, though. I got to start off by cleaning that guy, my center, my electrode there. So I'll go do that. And I do have a little bit more gas, and I'm just going to touch up with a rosette and a rosette, practice that. I'm going to come up to 60 amps because we're focused now on material that's already there. I just polished it up a little bit. Let me turn a little light on because I'm standing in the way of the other light as well. That's not bad. That's not terrible, right? It's all full of material. We don't have to weld it from the bottom. I'm just going to quick clean it off, throw a little bit of primer on that, and then we're going to start running my cable through. I had to get the motor mounted and chain back on because now we need some precise dimensions and just kind of fix it in finally. Now, this is really a piece of crap. He doesn't know about this stuff, but you can see the wear here, which of course affects the chain and the brake. And the chain was jammed up, so I got it lubricated to a large degree with some chain lube. And you can see it's dumping out over here because it's also dry, it's a mess. So this is the stuff he doesn't understand. So this bushing is shot. Yeah, it's a real piece of crap. I mean, I don't know what he paid for it. I don't know. But this is the stuff that he's not paying attention. So I've got it aligned. I think that's good enough. Here is about, I mean, we won't know. See that wheel moving a lot? Yeah, that's no good. Let me clean up. Now I'm going to start laying out what we have to work with for the cable. We're going to do the final installation. And I think I have a better idea for her to lock it in up here as well. All right, just real quick, that's how I did it. Now you gotta leave space, some slack. We'll show you this tomorrow. I just whistled. And that we're gonna tighten up tomorrow because it's sloppy. But when I push this back, you'll see. And it doesn't travel very far. Let's come over here. So you gotta have play in it. Now, yes, you could see that's about the play. So it doesn't start to engage until here, right about here, and then forward. So moving forward, people are just going to jam it because it's a small engine. I set this still has that glue on it. We could have made a little adjustment here. It hits the stop. Let me show you. See, coming in. There it goes there. She's moving the throttle. And we could make other adjustments. I'd have to see how that would work. But I guess they slipped the washers on and then bent the end, because there's no way to get that off. You could put spacers in here and then just quick tack weld so that you get to lock up a little sooner, but you got to be real careful because you don't want to get that spring hot. It is what it is. It's not my job to make everything perfect. This thing's just not worth it. And it stops before it rips itself apart. So that's like full. Right? That's it. I guess tomorrow I'll give you another little quick look, and then we're going to put the fuel tank on. And hopefully the carburetor doesn't get damaged from water or anything. It does have a drain on it, so we could let the fuel in and then let it drain. Yeah, here's the drain. So we'll let the fuel in, and we'll let it drain. And then, like, tomorrow I'll throw a little oil in. He can grease it, but I'll throw a little oil in all the bearings. We're not looking at the brake. I'll check the tire pressure, and we'll lube up here and take a look at this. Put some lube in. We'll get that tightened up and squared away, and cotter and washer on it. Probably a new bolt or some stud or something. And then we'll clean up. And I'd like to bring this out for a quick test because we're going to have a big storm for Sunday and Monday. So tomorrow's Saturday. We also got to check the oil because a lot of it spilled out into the combustion chamber. So we should be okay. And then the other thing too is I want to see if I can turn this around the other way, fellas. What do you think? Hold on. Turn this around, clock it that way, see if it hits the air cleaner, but the air cleaner isn't all that big. I mean, this way you can kind of pull start it and try to hit the gas, but I think if we just adjust, this is your curb idle or the minimum throttle or idle stop, really, we might be able to bring that out a little bit.
The next day.
Now this is the bolt that was there, and it's a little too long. It was very rusty. It fits better, this shoulder here fits better this way. I should say this way. Okay, because now it's on the shoulder. It was like this, it went through here. And then, I don't know if you can see it, I'll turn a little light on over here. But now, this would be riding on an area. It's not really on the shoulder, be on the threads. We'll see if we can make it a little bit less wobbly that way. We'll get everything greased up. You know, I got the rust out of the way, and we'll put a cotter and a washer there as well. All right, so I added the spring that was part of this mechanism. Here, I put it back through here. Just drill the hole, bent it around, put a little tension on it. That makes sure now that we're against the idle stop and that it's not going to bounce around on us and get stuck. And again, just a little hole, and you can see over here. So this is much nicer, you know, not as wobbly. And I could probably tighten it up a little bit more. And then we got our cotter on, and you can see it feels much better. That spring also adds a little bit of extra foot feel. You know, you're not going to get much here. You could put a bigger one on, but that's the spring we had, and I think it's an appropriate one. So it adds a little bit more foot feel, positive engagement, and make sure that we're returning, like I said, on the throttle. All right, now we can put the tank on.
All right, you can stop making fun of me right now and my welds. I'm new at it, and I'm getting better. I did pick up a new helmet. I got the Miller, the sort of classic series. I haven't even adjusted it yet. We'll go over this when I do an evaluation on the welder and the helmet and all that. That'll come, I don't know, sometime after this video, a month from now or whatever. But I haven't even adjusted it yet. It's just kind of running in automatic. And right away, I could see what I was doing. Even if I put my glasses on, I was getting like pain. And I've had this around forever. 15 years or so. And we'll take a look at this in another video. Yeah, Chicago Electric, DIN 9-13. We'll have to see if I can get some intel on it. There's not that many adjustments inside, and again, we'll take a better look at it another time. I guess I'll keep it around for now. I don't really need it, but as a backup, and then of course I've got a regular arc welding helmet. And I've been MIG welding for years. Now, the old helmet would do pretty good until I got up into the high current on my MIG welder, my Lincoln MIG. I could have done that work in the Lincoln, but I want to learn how to TIG. And I just finished this up. So this is like a lift rod for a deck on a zero turn, a John Deere zero turn that's on my table over there. And I just wanted to add a bigger thread to it. The customer snapped it, twisted it off, and it was a smaller thread. And I don't remember what size. I gotta finish one more part on this. So that all came nice. And I did that on, that's another episode, did that on with the TIG. And now that I have a better helmet and I'm getting a little bit more technique. This is all, working on stuff like this is all, it doesn't matter. If this were to break again, I'll just buy another one. I'll just, buy him one, shove it on there and get him for an install and a tune up or whatever, cleaning or something. And the same thing with that part that I just made. Right? It's welded on one side. There's plenty of weld. Another mistake I made is I should have just tried to run a little bead, tacked it, and then run a small little bead right in that crevice. I mean, I filled the thing with weld, but I tried to fill it in one pass, and that's stupid. I wouldn't have done that with MIG. And, I make stupid mistakes, like you pull the rod out of the, away from the shielding gas too quick. You pull the whole torch assembly away from the red hot weld too fast. And I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Why did I just do that? After the fact, when you look back on it. But anyway, part 2 will be coming up soon. This was part 1. We essentially laid out and mapped out some kind of a throttle arrangement. We'll get another look at that later. But basically in this episode, it's done. We can shift to the other things that are required that we need to do on this guy. We need to get that motor running properly and get it sort of cleaned up more and finish up a few more things. This video is getting a little bit long, so I said, you know what, let's just take it here. We got the throttle cable done. We got all that sort of mapped out. We don't have to do too much more, but we got to make this motor run properly and go through the carburetor. We're going to go through the carburetor on this little Predator as well because it had a little bit of crap in it. That's the other episode. Stay tuned for that, coming out shortly. Depending on when you watch this, it'll all be in a folder. And eventually when they're all out, I'll drop links in the description and yada, yada, yada. Thanks for watching this episode. Over here on Arch's Garage, kind of like hanging out, doing cool stuff from time to time. Every now and then I get to do something that's a lot more fun than just run-of-the-mill repairs. And I can sort of stretch my wings a little bit. All right, I'm out of here. It's freezing cold out. I'm going to get the heat back on, and I'll see you guys later.